Now the New York Knicks just broke up the Nova Knicks before they ever got to play a game together, and they did so in a major way. No one at all expected Karl Anthony Towns to get traded to the New York Knicks from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and with this going down right before training camp, it made it even more of a shocker. Now some people may hate on Cat's game and didn't fully appreciate what he was doing for that Minnesota team, but there's some key skills that he possesses that will help this Knicks team out greatly. When you first think of Cat, some of you may bring up his zesty moments and all of that, but for all of us that simply judge the game in itself, his shooting as a big man is the thing that comes to mind immediately. When looking at the Knicks last year, they were ranked in 14th in the league for 3-point percentage at 36.9, and when you shift over to Minnesota, they shot the ball at a 38.7% rate, which ranked them at 3rd in the league. Take those numbers and then pair it with Cat shooting 41.6% from deep in the 2024 season compared to Randle's 31.1%, and you already see why Cat will help this team out massively. Standing at 7 feet tall, Towns is one of the most efficient shooting big men in NBA history, and trust me when I say that, because over the last 7 seasons, he's maintained a 3-point shooting percentage of 39.5% on nearly 4.5 attempts per game. To put that into context, only 4 other big men in league history have ever shot that kind of percentage on a similar volume, such as guys like Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Love, Channing Frye, and Brook Lopez. But when we talk about Towns, he isn't just a shooter who stands out because of his size, he's a legitimate sniper who adds another dimension to this team's offense. There's honestly no room for error by having your hands down when guarding him, because as we all know, hand down, man down.
Third quarter has been key for them as Towns.
Some might say that Cat is soft and doesn't have that aggressiveness to him, but with his 7-foot, 248-pound frame, Towns can just bulldoze through anyone if he puts his mind to it. And when you have to guard someone with supreme confidence who will just pull up immediately off the catch, it shows you you're in for a long night. With the Knicks going all in and building around Jalen Brunson, we've seen him rise to the occasion in a major way as he carried a usage rate of 31.1%, which put him at 6th in the league, and out of all players with a usage rate of 30 or higher, Brunson had the 2nd highest assist percentage right behind Luka Doncic at 36.9. Basically, Brunson was a high-level creator for this team, so when you give him a guy who he can run that pick and pop or pick and roll with, it'll generate high-quality buckets for either one. And then for a more passive approach, if Towns is just spaced out spotting up to shoot, this will open up the floor for Brunson completely, and say the defense does decide to collapse on him, we'll go ahead and put 3 points on the board. Say this is Cat setting a screen for Brunson here. We all know that Jalen attracts a lot of attention, especially if it seems like he's going to get an angle to go score. So this makes the defense lose Cat for a split second, but this right here is no bueno. 1, because you never want to leave a good shooter any space, and then 2, when you're trying to contest a 7-footer when you're a smaller player, it honestly doesn't do much for you. I know, it may seem pretty basic at first, but it's not just that Cat is a great spot-up shooter, as he's extremely versatile with his scoring. If needed, sure, you can use him as a spot-up option, but he also has the ability to put the ball on the deck to pull up or go to the basket, and he can be used to run off screens to then catch and fire. This right here creates a level of unpredictability for the defense, because now they have to worry about the multiple ways he can shoot the ball from the outside, and then once they're vigilant to that, they now have to worry about all the other ways of his scoring as well. You can already see here on this play that Gordon is getting into position to help, which is correct, because if you're 2 passes away like this, you should be toe tapping in the paint. So Gordon isn't necessarily wrong for this, but with him now being a solid distance away from Cat when Mike Conley, or aka Jalen Brunson, is coming off this screen, it's an easy pass to the opposite side where Cat is. Gordon now has a long distance to close out, and it's straight cash.
Anthony Towns with a beautiful stroke.
But as I previously stated, it's not only about the spot-up shots that you have to worry about, because Cat is fine with putting it on the deck briefly before rising up over the top, and if you need him to relocate by using a screen to get him open, he can move into space to receive the ball to then pull up with ease. This impact Cat will have with his shooting is something that shouldn't be overlooked whatsoever. With Towns on the court, the defense will have to constantly account for his presence beyond the arc, which pulls the opposing big man out the paint, giving his star guard Jalen Brunson or anyone else good angles to attack the basket. Now everybody stay with me. We slightly touched on that pick and pop option that will be present for Cat and Brunson, but why exactly will this be major? Well, when you pull the numbers up, Jalen Brunson put up 1.05 points per possession as the pick and roll ball handler, which puts him in the 91st percentile, and then when you pull up Cat's numbers, he's in the 90th percentile amongst all pick and roll men, putting up 1.44 points per possession. So for all of my guys that really aren't into the numbers and everything like that, this pretty much means you're putting 2 guys who thrive in the pick and roll on the same team so they can enforce the damage together. It'll be times like this when the floor is so spaced out that Cat and Brunson can run a 2-man game at the top, and this right here puts the defense in a dilemma. Do we cut off the water for Brunson and make him pass it away, or do we allow him to collapse the defense completely by getting to the paint? Well, honestly, both options are tough, because if one doesn't stay with Cat, you end up giving a wide open 3. So what do these defenders end up doing? Well, they choose the route of switching off the screen, but since Aldama gets his ankles cooked, this forces the help to come over, and look what opens up. That time down the floor took a little time to develop, but a lot of the time you'll see these pick and pops happen immediately off the screen, turning this into a warm-up jumper. This gravity of Brunson is going to be tremendous when pairing him next to Cat, simply because Jalen already stretches the defense with his creation skills, but now the defense will have to worry about a sniper also, which can open up a wide variety of options. If you look right here, this is what I mean. You can see that Anthony Edwards attracts 2 defenders to him because they don't want him isoing and possibly getting a bucket. But this now puts Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in a position where they have to guard 3 people. So with some simple ball movement, the Timberwolves force the Suns into rotation, and BOW! Right here is where you unlock the offense. Since you have a big like Cat who will knock it down from deep, you have no choice but to get out and hope your guys are rotating on the backside to guard the next man. Not only is this taxing on the Suns players, but with this corner man open, he can now attack the closeout if he wanted to due to the momentum being in his favor, or he can simply choose to pull up in rhythm. You can see it again here as the Timberwolves run this screen-to-screener action, but with Valanciunas and deep drop coverage making Ingram fight through with no help, you now put it on your wing defender to rotate over or possibly give up a 3 to a 41% shooter. But hey, when you're stuck in this position right here, you pretty much gotta pick your poison. Now listen to me, let's just be honest, like for real, me and you. After the Knicks got kicked out the playoffs, they probably sat down and watched the Celtics last season and said, hey, we're pretty darn close to having the right pieces to run this type of offense. They were simply missing a big who could space the floor with his shooting, and they got just that. Now sure, the Celtics may have more skill overall down the roster, and they could just be the better team. But when you get a big who can shoot the 3 and operate on the floor outside the post, it opens up a whole new level of offense that the team has never seen. Cat himself has the choice to shoot over anyone from the outside if he chooses to, but don't forget that just because he can shoot, that there's other aspects to his game. He has that ability to put the ball on the deck to attack the rack, and boy oh boy is this nasty. There's honestly many reasons as to why the Knicks wanted to bring Towns over, as some will point to his defense improving, and that'll be something that helps his team as Towns can match up with bigs in the paint, and then he can occasionally switch on to smaller guys and pretty much hold his own. This right here allows for the Knicks to experiment with different lineups due to the flexibility of Towns, further showing you the value he brings to this team. This trade right here was truly something none of us could say we seen coming, but when looking at the players and the teams they landed on, I would say that it's a win for both teams, and now it's all about how well they can actually perform in the system. What would you all rate this trade if you had to give it a grade? And tell me why. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.